Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting in 5 minutes. We are live streaming this, so if you have friends and families who aren't here today and you want them to watch, please make sure to send them the link. It's tinyurl.com/slamlive. That's SLAMLIVE. Thank you. We'll be starting in 5 minutes. And we're your hosts for this evening.
The rookie class has been working tirelessly to present these poems to you. They've investigated real-world human rights issues in their geography, digital media, and English classes. Keep in mind that these topics discussed today are for a more mature audience and viewer discretion is advised. These learners are speaking about issues that interest them and what they are also passionate about.
So events this evening do include live performances. We have our silent auction, the bake sale in the hallway, we have greeting card sales as well as t-shirt sales, so if any of those interest you, be sure to go check those out. This event has been hosted, planned, and executed all by our learners. And we want to give a huge shout out to the academic facilitators who have worked to support and scaffold the learning in their English 1, geography, and digital media courses.
Every year, learners vote for a charity that they want all the proceeds to go to. This year, the goal was $12,000, and they have already surpassed that, and now the new goal is $20,000. So, your donations to make that possible would be amazing. This year, the rookies chose Dallas Children's Advocacy Center for their funds to go to. They are a nonprofit organization that coordinates investigation, prosecution, and healing services to severe cases of child abuse in the Dallas County. They have served over 8,000 children every year and help children who are sexually abused, physically abused, and had witnessed a crime.
So if Sonia Naderi is here, if she could please give us more information.
She may not be here yet.
All right, no worries. So we're gonna get started with the seniors presenting a few poems about the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center, and they're actually performing for an event called Poetry Out Loud, and that's a national scholarship foundation to get seniors more interested into poetry. And they're actually in the running for $20,000 scholarship. So it's really exciting. We're gonna have our first performer come up, which is Finley Tipton.
Hi, I'm Finley, in case you didn't get the message. The first poem I'm going to be performing is called It Was Not Death, for I Stood Up by Emily Dickinson. It was not death, for I stood up, and all the dead lie down. It was not night, for all the bells put out their tongues for noon. It was not frost, for on my flesh I felt Sirocco's crawl, nor fire, for just my marble feet could keep a chancel cool. And yet it tasted like them all. The figures I have seen set orderly for burial reminded me of mine. As if my life were shaven and fitted to a frame and could not breathe without a key. And 'twas like midnight, sung, when everything that ticked has stopped and space stares all around, where grisly frosts, first autumn morns, repeal the beating ground. But most like chaos, stopless, cool, without a chance, or spar, or even a report of land to justify despair. Thank you. The next poem I'm going to be performing is called Anthem for My Belly After Eating Too Much by Cara Jackson. I look in the mirror, and all the chips I've eaten this month have accumulated like schoolwork at the bottom of my tummy. My belly. A country I'm trying to love. My mouth is a lover devoted to you. My belly, my belly. The birds will string a song together with wind for you and your army of solids, militia of Greece. Americans love excess, but we also love jeans and refuse to make excess comfortable in them. I step into a fashionable prison, my middle managed and fastened into suffering. My gracious gut, dutiful dome, I will wear a house for you that you can live in, promise walls that embrace your growing flesh, and watch you reach toward everything possible. Thank you.
Thank you, family. Up next, we have Miles Crowley.
Hello, I am Miles. The first poem that I'm going to be performing tonight is Early Affection by George Moses Horton. I loved thee from the earliest dawn, when first I saw thy beauty's ray, and will until life's eve comes on and beauty's blossom fades away. And when all things go well with thee, with smiles and tears, remember me. I'll love thee when thy morn is past, and wheedling gallantry is o'er, when youth is lost in age's blast, and beauty can ascend no more. And when life's journey ends with thee, oh, then look back and think of me. I'll love thee with smiles or frowns, mid sorrow's gloom or pleasure's light, and when the chain of life runs down, pursue thy last eternal flight. When thou hast spread thy wing to flee, still a moment wait for me. I'll love thee for those sparkling eyes to which my fondness was betrayed, bearing a tincture of the skies to glow when other beauties fade. And when they sink too low to see, reflect an azure beam on me. The second poem that I'm going to be performing is The Darker Sooner by Catherine Wing. Then came the darker sooner, came the later lower. We were no longer a sweeter here, happily ever after, we were after ever. We were farther and further, and more was the word that we used for harder. Lost was our standard bearer. Our gods were fallen faster and fallen larger. The day was duller, duller was disaster. Our charge was error. Instead of leader, we had louder. Instead of lover, never, and over this river broke winter's black weather. Thank you.
All right, next up is Annika Kelly. Before we do that, could I just remind y'all to please silence your phones and to be quiet when presenting, especially when it gets really loud, it's hard to concentrate. So thank you so much. Annika Kelly, you're up.
All right, so the first poem I'll be performing today is The Albatross by Kate Bass. When I know you were coming home, I put on this necklace. Glass beads on a silken thread, a blue that used to match my eyes. I like to think I'm remembering you. I like to think you don't forget. The necklace lies heavy on my skin. It clatters as I reach down to lift my screaming child. I swing her, roll her in my arms until she forgets. The beads glitter in the flicker of a TV set as I set her on my lap and wish away the afternoon. I wait until I hear a gate latch lift, the turn of key in lock. I sit amongst toys and unwashed clothes. I sit and she fingers the beads until you speak in a voice that no longer sounds familiar, only strange. I turn as our child tugs at the string. I hear a snap and a sound like falling rain. The second poem I'll be performing is called My Partner Wants Me to Write Them a Poem About Sheryl Crow by Caleb Ray Candrilli. My partner wants me to write them a poem about Sheryl Crow. But all I want to do is marry them on a beach that refuses to take itself too seriously. So much of our lives has been serious. Over time, I've learned that love is most astonishing when it persists after learning where we come from. When I bring my partner to my childhood home, it is all bullets and needles and trash bags held at arm's length. It is my estranged father's damp bed of cardboard and cigar boxes filled with gauze and tarnished spoons. It is hard to clean a home, but it is harder to clean the memory of it. When I was young, my father would light lavender candles and shoot up. Now, my partner and I light a fire that will burn all traces of the family that lived there. Black plastic smoke curdles up and loose bullets discharge in the flames. My partner holds my hand as gunfire rings through the birch trees. Though this is almost beautiful, it is not. And if I'm being honest, my partner and I spend most of our time on Earth feeding one another citrus fruits and enough strength to go on. Every morning, I pack them half a grapefruit and some sugar. And they tell me it's just sweet enough.
What a wonderful performance from the seniors, and good luck on your project. Before the rookies start with their poems, we have a little poem of our own.
The bake sale. A thing that looks so small but has so much meaning. Second by second, minute by minute, it calls. It calls my name like my mother does when I forget to do the dishes.
A sense of urgency rushes over me. Each item on the table calls my name. The cookies yelling, the brownies screaming, the pastries riding for my attention. But which do I choose?
My stomach is struggling, but my pockets even more. They used to tell me that money doesn't buy happiness. They're right, but it buys food. Food is my happiness. Food is the thing I care about. I buy until I have nothing left. Cookies filling my pockets. Pretzels crunching in my mouth. I take a bite.
A bite.
A bite.
A bite until I am full. But the cookies are still screaming my name louder
and louder
and louder until I can't take it anymore. I'm full. Now it's your turn.
Wait, do I smell quesadillas? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's enough messing around, y'all. Who's excited for the slam poems? All right, please give a warm welcome to our first group up performing tonight, Angia, Lucy, and Tabitha performing The Candle.
China says you can only have 3 children.
China says women's rights don't matter.
China says to ignore the discrimination.
I've always wanted a girl, a daughter that grows strong in the world. I will tell her that she could have anything, that she could light her own candle and let it burn as bright as she wanted.
But she can't. Can she? Her candle would be watched and controlled and silenced. But it's normal. The China Communist Party suppressing our candles, forcing them into a small dim flame. This life is normal. Isn't it?
This is all I've ever known. What do you want from pushing, from fighting? I see it every day. It's just getting the party angry. I work in the hospitals. They tell me I'm saving lives, but the screams of the mothers say otherwise.
The candle starting to flicker.
One of the hundreds of casualties, but I want my child back. I want my child back in my arms, but China's wants are different than mine, and China doesn't give us the truth.
The truth. I just want the truth. The CCP is right, of course. Right? Orders and rules and regulations, they're put in place for our good. The government is suppressing our flame for our good?
Is it good that our children are getting murdered?
Is it good that women can't have whatever job they want?
Is it good that discrimination is allowed? I just want the truth.
But no one will give me the truth. How can you possibly defy the government? I'm just carrying out my job, making my family proud, taking my path, following in the footsteps of my predecessors.
The candle, starting to die down.
I'm tired, I'm done,
I don't want to fight anymore.
But what that doctor doesn't realize is that she's just a pawn in their chess game. A minimal role of the government's larger unforeseen plan. A minimal role that can and will be thrown away. How can they do this?
How can I do this? How can I question? I've never been outside. The tourists talk about the wonderful world out there, but we have balance too. The yin and the yang, the pagodas and the palaces, the pandas and the lotus. This is all I've ever known. This country, these people, my ancestors. And the candles burning out a slow dim flame.
How do I stray from this well-known path? Everyone tells me I'm a great doctor. But am I really? Because what everyone else doesn't see, doesn't hear, is that the screams of those mothers, they echo.
Echo.
Inside my head. Women are told to hide behind doors. No one wants to see the woman behind the mask.
The candle, starting to grow brighter.
I see it now. That mask. The one that hid my face. The one that always had a smile. The one that when they asked me if I was okay, I said, I'm fine! And walked away. But I am not that woman.
I will be strong.
I will fight
for my rights.
Just as my daughter fought for hers. They chose to take her life. They chose to snuff out her candle, but I know now.
I see it now. The doctors have killed these children, but not by choice. Because what I didn't realize is the doctors have their own candles that are watched and controlled. The Chinese government is towering over the people, and countless amounts of people have died for speaking up.
Who will show them?
They didn't die for nothing.
Who will show them?
That their voice will be heard.
I see it now. I wander through the streets.
I struggle to raise my voice above the noise.
I struggle to do the right.
I thought I was the hero, saving lives, but I've been blinded. I took lives away from the world that could have made a difference.
I want change.
I want to live in a world of change with my children.
I need change.
So be the change. A woman and her spouse should be able to make the choice of how many children they want.
Not the government.
Not the doctors.
It is a personal choice.
Their choice.
Mao Hengfeng, a mother who lost her daughter to the government.
Lu Bilin, a resident who saw others' candles being suppressed.
Dr. Wong, a doctor who realized what the mothers were going through.
I have a choice.
I have a choice.
I have a choice.
Light your own candle.
Be your own flame.
Don't let anyone blow it out.
Because we have a choice.
That was an amazing first performance. Up next, we have performing Scholastica, Isabella, Carmel, and Alicia.
The quiet tranquility of a library where a young child grows.
Wanting to know everything, but she doesn't realize how big the world is.
How it expands beyond her small village, beyond the shining peak of Mount Kilimanjaro. She doesn't yet know the terrors hiding outside her small world. I'm the mother of that young girl who has become victim, denied education for a pregnancy forced upon her. The name once given to her, stripped to hide the pain, but I gave her that name. I gave her that shame. Each day she returned from school, so excited to have her own pencils, her own books, but my hopes for my daughter dissolved like salt in the water as she tells me,
Mama, I'm pregnant.
And now I look into her eyes and all I see are the torn pages from her dreams falling into bitter nostalgia. She became victim to things she couldn't control. She told me my brother's son had touched her. Something in the back of my mind said, this is your fault.
This is your fault.
This is your fault.
This is your fault.
I am now like the other
1,260,000
young girls who become pregnant each year.
And I am like the other
1,260,000
mothers that must silently watch their daughters suffer. It feels as if all eyes are upon us, as if I'm a performer on stage, an audience scorning me, their glare stinging worse than thrown stones. They hate her. They blame her. She was just 14. Just 14 when that man hurt her. Just 14 when her life was wrecked before it even began. She was just 14. All I can do is hold my daughter's hand and watch as she grows up too soon, becomes a mother too young, and gives up on life too quickly.
I am the one called Sarah, but Sarah is not my real name. Denied state education, blamed for the rape, my mouth bounded by tape placed by ignorant hands. They grab me, drag me down like an anchor on a sinking ship. They say I am worthless. How can I feel like something when everyone tells me I'm nothing? Some days I feel like I have power. Some say in the plot of my story, it's hard, but I tried to grasp the slippery cliff. Yes, my fingernails bleed, but I am holding on until I hear. We cannot allow this immoral behavior to permeate our primary and secondary schools. After getting pregnant, you are done, says our former president. Mr. President, you are killing the future to preserve the past. How long will this torture last? Dear Mr. President, I beg you for mercy, for the stain upon my family's name to fade, for my dreams to become more than just lost chapters of my story, fossilized and forgotten. And to my cousin, was it worth what you've done? When I was just 13, you stole my future. You have taken my identity from me like a cover ripped from a story that can never be placed back. And yet, I must remain a pretty picture because our society has taught me to smile, even as I'm being stabbed over and over again. I'm traversing a tightrope between a fetus and a future. My flesh is filthy, covered in faults, with no way to fix the failure I've become. Shame grabs me by the wrist, yanking me back to the place I swore I'd never return. And yet, I must hide my pain again, because between the lines of my story, there is no happy ending.
I am the daughter of Sarah, born of fear and despair. I watch as a mother's crushed, subjected to the pain of generations. She walks through markets with no direction, no compass to guide her home. Home, a word with a lost definition, a word known to us as just 2 vowels and 2 consonants. She was the one to name me Scholastica, for you to become what I could not be. She teaches me a new word each day: dog,
Cart, bike,
tradition,
hurt, worry,
injustice,
pain.
And yet, I am a heavy weight dragging my mother down. The first word I ever spoke to her was sorry, and my apology continues to weave its way like a net around me, as if I am running, hiding from my mother. And yet, my mother holds me, protects me from harm, spends hours outside in the kitchen making broth when I am sick, and she prays to God, not for her, but for me. Al depende, love your enemy. My mother loved me. My mother loved me, her enemy, the symbol of the mistake she had committed, the reason she was not the hero of her story. She named her enemy Scholastica, education in Swahili. My mother named me Scholastica not out of hate,
but out of hope.
But out of hope.
Wow, we just started and I'm already getting chills on how good these poems are. I just wanted to remind y'all that anytime you see an impactful moment, just give us some snaps. Next up, we have Trapped by Shakayla, Chloe, and Rija.
Trapped. Think, realize. Written in stone. We take pictures, call it visionary, but I don't see the trauma written in stone.
I am trapped.
The tour guide explains the culture to willing victims so we don't have to see the truth as we walk the streets of Doha.
Trapped. In Qatar, his permission is key, but he doesn't know what's best for me, for I don't have a name, just a label for my man holding me back with his ring. Trapped. He can't seem to lower his gaze, but I understand. I have to tell myself not to be fazed. You may tread me in this very dirt, but like dust, I will rise. Trapped.
Women can't leave my country well free. Men are like keys, refusing to open the locks that keep their women closed. Freedom is the key to the cell of inequality, but they're trapped in the locket of suffering quality. Why fit something if I don't care, but wherever my country goes?
Trapped.
Perhaps she's treated like this for the sins she doesn't remember.
Trapped. Imagine being 25 and never had lived. Imagine being 25 and forced to have that man's kids. Imagine being 25 and having to ask permission to go to a doctor for your son's medical condition. My shoes lie by the front door begging to run away free, but I must be 25 to get my ticket, and my dad just said no. Trapped.
Her husband has his golden locket wrapped around her neck. I see the look in their eyes so far from love.
Trapped.
Change is the faintest light in a world of darkness. no choice but to stay in this life. Voices stuck, unable to bear the suffering. Voices stuck like a blade piercing through her soul.
Trapped, a top behavior of hiding under your own voice in hope of staying safe for another day, fearing every day for his left hand's hit as it comes striking down again and again, fearing every day for his left hand's hit as it comes striking down again and again, and then trapped.
Sorry, that was impure of her. It was all her fault all along.
If her husband dies, her father dies, and her brother dies, the government is her new guardian.
Her children are now mine and under my rule, her name stripped from all those she loved.
I was brought up into this world, raised upon God of good in the world, but my world has become flawed. Trapped
in a locket wrapped around her neck.
Trapped
in a locket of a life that won't relent.
Not allowed to be your own guardian of the laws of my own design. The state of Qatar won't go away without a fight. I wrote the laws, I made the rules, because I felt small. A woman can't beat me at a game I made and won.
Trapped. The men can change like their country once did. The laws can be thoughtful like the religion before them. The protesters shall go in front of their buildings crying out for not asking permission to live. Realize, think, realize, think. Trapped.
Up next, we have performing Hidden Voice, Kagan, Sophie, and Becca.
My name is Sharika Barzaskai. I am an activist for women's rights in Afghanistan, but I wasn't always so vocal. It was the summer of 1999. I woke up feeling sick and dizzy, but I couldn't leave my house without a maraham. So I stand in tears as I'm forced to shave my daughter's head and dress her in boys' clothes to pass as a male guardian, for I had no sons. I asked my neighbors to walk with us because
safety is in numbers, or so we thought.
It was a hot and arid day. As we walked through the pharmacy in the center of Kabul, the world is silent.
No music, no conversation.
My eyes fill with tears as wherever I look, I see women covered head to toe, hiding everything that makes them who they are in just a simple burqa. There were never any cars on the streets anymore. The only cars people saw were the ones that they feared, because with those cars came harm, shame, suffering. And one of those cars was driving next to me. As they slow down next to us, in my mind, all I can think is, please not me, please not my child. I pray silently, over and over again. And then all of a sudden, I feel instant pain, them beating me, over and over again. And they didn't stop.
I cried.
I screamed. I tried to keep it together in front of my child, but it was just too unbearable. The rubber of the cable hit my back over and over again, and then my knees hit the ground. And when I thought the suffering would stop, it kept going. Smack! After what felt like hours, they finally left, and I stood with shaky knees crying. I had never been beaten before. I was shocked and humiliated. I had been one of the lucky ones until one day when I wasn't.
Women's rights have been running a marathon. They've been going on for so long. We've made so much progress fighting for what we deserve, so why is the Taliban taking that away? My name is Becca Liebert, and I am an American citizen, but I'm always going to be a woman first. So I protest and shout because I sense an almost stabbing pain for my sisters in Afghanistan. But it seems like I am swallowing, silencing that pain, shoving it down, down, down. Sexism is still lurking throughout the world, but is prominent, protruding, projecting in Afghanistan.
Women are being confined to the homes without a male with them.
Women are being abused by the Taliban in an attempt to silence their protest.
Women are describing their current situation like living in a nightmare. Women are seen as a subcategory. We are all human.
Humans are being confined to their homes without a male with them. Humans
are being abused by the Taliban in attempts to silence their protest.
Humans are describing their current situation like living in a nightmare. I hear the cries of women overseas, them screaming and shouting in their foreign tongues, begging, Yawazimi Pregda. But I can't understand their cries for help. It seems that nobody can. U.S. funding was stripped out of Afghanistan, falling from $16,748,000,000 to $3,120,000,000, because all those pet rocks in our rucksack were taking us down. But there are people who want to help, so shouldn't we try? It's the little things that make a big difference, like how one smile can make someone's day. So what can you do today so the world will change someday?
Action is the oxygen needed in our lungs. The Taliban claims they are protecting women from untrained fighters, but why do they have to be trained just to leave someone alone?
You can hear the streets scream in silence as women are being forced to stay indoors.
You can hear little girls crying as their education runs away from their lives.
You can hear the voices of women all around the world helping in this fight, but we need more might. We hear on the news the issues that are rising, and we stand in shock because while we have our freedom,
those women do not. Why stop now when we can be the ones to change things?
All right, this is our last poem before our first intermission, so please welcome A Century Without Change by Mikey, Malik, and Sissy.
I knew he didn't do anything, but he was accused. My purse was damaged and claims that my clothes were torn. All that happened was an incident. I was mad at the time. He escaped, and in just minutes, the police were looking for him. I heard a bang! I went out, and all I saw...
Headline, Negro attacks girl in the elevator.
I felt like the cause of a historical problem, but that wasn't my intention. Fire, riots, gunshots, all because of me, and left many homeless and hurt in 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
They want to keep us under lock and key, but it's to be. All these statements, Negro did this, Negro did that, they are the problem. And to solve it, we push them to Greenwood, burn it down. It's not like they earned it or worked for it. She had to sit in the elevator, scared and afraid. Her name, Sarah Page. And they trying to protect them, we supposed to just let it be again.
The time it took, hours and hours of the pain it took away. The sense of home gone left all of us in disarray. As all these black American businesses burned away, pain was left at stake. Dead men, metal bent, bullet holes left instead. Lives gone, people gone, all we could see left is red. They're gone. Everyone around heard that sound, which left many men and women on the ground. Bang! The men and women who died couldn't get a chance of fully living their lives, but I'm that guy who almost lost his life because of her. All I did was try to leave the elevator. My skin was the problem, and to solve it, they take black lives for granted like it's profit. What more can be done? All this over black business is booming. 100 years later, it's 2021.
And we're still struggling with justice?
Change.
And racism.
100 years later, survivors never got what they deserved.
Leslie Benningfield, 106 years old. I have long awaited change. I'm just asking to make things right.
Viola Ford Fletcher, 107. I have lived through the massacre every day, and our country may forget this history, but I just can't.
Hugh Van Els, 100 years old. We're not just black and white pictures on a screen. We're flesh and blood.
Venice Sims, age 86. You could hear the bullets flying in our backyard, and you knew the fight was going on. You could hear the boom, boom, boom.
100 years later, and the massacre is still absent from most institutions, an incident where the deadliest single occurrence of racial violence took place.
School is a place to learn, yet the massacre is kept quiet. Why isn't it talked about?
How's the system fair? 100 years hidden away, 106 years old, 100 different chances, and over 100 classified dead.
Their experiences need to be heard.
I was investigating and seeing what was going on, and I never want to experience something like that again. A traumatic experience is silenced, and the worst part, the money raised didn't go to any of the survivors.
But yet they use it for personal gain, money, their names brought to shame, fake activists, they don't care, they never did. No reparations, Black Wall Street, that's a forgotten name. No money given, that's ministers that we'll never get back, not even 100 years after the fact. No amends, no compensation, no restorations, no reparations. Over 100,000 people wronged. Black Wall Street, booming business destroyed, thrown in the void. All these years of hiding, no justice, no peace. You can't trust anybody, not even the police.
It's a target of people that look like you and me, born like you and me.
And now we see blood on the leaf, just like
the blood-stained concrete, red paint on the walls. They're left in disbelief. All who's left is only in pieces, like where they just want ecstasy. Bang, the sound left ringing in their heads. Bang, the story's not heard but instead. Bang, they hide it, sit on their bed. Bang, bang, bang! It's been 100 years and we still hope, but no change has occurred. It's been a century and we need
change.
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 That was an amazing first group of performers. Now we're going to take a 20-minute intermission while y'all go shop and look at the bake sale. During that time, we're going to have the color rappers come up and give you a show. information, y'all can still bid on something and we'll take your purchase later. Also, we have stars for your star. For $1, you can write a message to your learner to support them. If everyone can please start making their way back to their seats, the poems are about to begin. I just wanted to remind y'all that if you forgot to bring cash or a checkbook, no worries. You can still bid on items. We'll just get your contact information and reach out to you later.
All right, how many of y'all are proud of your kids so far? Raise your hands. Exactly, right? So make sure you buy them a star, show some appreciation for them. It means a lot, especially when I did it and I got a star. I was like, oh, thank you, Mom. Thank you for finally writing me an embarrassing note. On the other hand, we do also, in that same area, we do have, if you donate $1, then Ms. Benz will do a squat if you put it in her jar, or she work those glutes, you know, you gotta get strong, man. And then, or else or if you get it in Mr. Volker's tub, then he'll do a push-up. And we really want to see those biceps worked, right? So make sure you donate $1 over there too.
All right, we're gonna get started with the next set of poems. Performing in ballad is Sophia, Navni, and Caitlin.
There are 213 million of me in India.
My family has been here in Assam for decades, though they claim not rightfully.
The government excludes them from citizenship.
Denies our rights as Muslims.
These protests.
Unimaginable.
Deadly.
As a victim, I see.
Familiar faces surround me, huge crowds of Muslims and mobs, the air denser than ever before. These protests are an inescapable fire of hatred that is roaring across my hometown. All I can hear are the shouts and cries of people. Muslims' lives matter.
Muslims' lives matter.
The sound of rickshaws deafening me, and my heart rapidly beating. Like a drum. I get yanked by the arm into the street. My mother and I's eyes meet, tears running down her face. My sister whispers prayers to Allah. I look up to see the person dragging me as someone I knew, someone I called a friend, someone I grew up with, someone who's now attacking me. I look into his eyes, the fire in them. A heart once warm, now is cold as ice. I try to swerve free. I try and I try, but I just keep getting beat and beat again and again and again. A fire that spreads, leaving my hometown forever segregated and scarred. India is not the country I once knew. I'm pulled into a cell where 988 people are held. I look maybe for the last time at my mother.
As a mother, my heart hurts as I see my children come home bloodied and bruised. I hear about the horrifying deeds of the people we once called friends. The song of the nation becomes a harsh hatred as my children come home, repeating it with fear in their eyes. Jaya hey, Jaya hey, Jaya hey, Jaya, 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 Jaya hey. Their bodies shaking like a salamander in snow, their hands as bloodied as a hunted prey. Their eyes were once so innocent, ready to see the world. Now their eyes are like a soldier coming home from war, haunted with the horrors they saw. India is not the country I once knew. I just wish people watching would do more.
As a bystander, I see them getting beat. I see the fire burning their eyes, wanting to be set free. My house is destroyed by those terrorists. They trespass into my country. But wait. Manal Haq, a 28-year-old, Raja Kutin, a 27-year-old, Faizan, a 23-year-old, Sheikh Farid, a 12-year-old. These people who have lost their lives, all I can do is watch. I feel helpless, weak. I see as the police are beating at them. What is the government doing about this? Nothing. They just sit there and watch their supremacy. As innocent people get hurt, I hear as they scream, screaming coming from every direction. India is not the country I once knew.
All I can envision is my little sister, never knowing a world not segregated, not full of hate, not having a place to belong.
A small percentage should not dictate their classification. They just want freedom. They just want a place to call home.
As mothers weep the blood of their fallen children, I see my sons hiding inside, scared looks etched on their faces, surprised eyes as they see the beaten and bloodied faces of their friends.
Bullied for wearing a hijab.
Wouldn't it be the first time?
Told,
you don't belong here.
Who says Muslims aren't people?
Who says I don't matter?
Who says I should be discriminated against in my own home?
Who knows what India will become?
Shall this become the biggest refugee crisis on earth?
For what is it worth?
All because of my faith. What's the difference between you and me that makes me invalid?
India is not the country we once knew.
Next up is Let Me Love, by Ben, Gabby, and McKenna.
When I walk down the streets of Bolivia with my love, we can't hold hands, I can't breathe, my mind is racing. Because I'm with a girl, not a boy, that's all they see.
Because she's with a girl, not a boy, that's all we see.
The constant fear of what will happen to me if I show my true self eats me alive. The strangers around me give me dirty looks. I'm an alien, a monster, an unwelcome guest. I live my entire life as an outsider who will never be what I'm expected to be. Every day I see my friend in the street, my family.
Beaten.
Bruised. Hated. Let me love. ¿Por qué no me pueden ver normal? ¿Es a mi cara? No. Mis amigas me dicen que no soy normal. ¿Qué está pasando? Me tengo que ir.
Why can't they view me as normal? Is there something on my face? No.
My friends tell me that I'm weird. I need to leave. What is happening?
David and Guido Montaña, ages 35 and 37, were two Bolivians who just wanted to get married.
They had already spent so much time arguing, explaining, and fighting to their parents,
priests,
teachers,
friends, to everyone. Their whole life shouldn't have to be constantly justified.
Now they have to claw their way through court system, documents, and officials.
Everyone around them telling them it's wrong, it's hopeless, they should just give up.
That their love is a lost cause, worth less than dirt.
Why can't they love?
Teens my own age walk around school with weights on their necks.
The stares and whispers from their peers following them like angry hornets.
School is no longer a place of learning. It's a place of hiding and hoping that they don't get caught.
Let them love.
See the fear and pain of the old couples.
The confusion and stress of the young teens.
As the hatred of everyone around them makes them want to fall apart.
Hear crying, hear shouting.
See Bolivia not as a whole,
but split in many.
Society traps us small groups in shackles, trying to keep things how they have been.
Traditions older than our great-grandparents dictate how we should live our lives.
Laws and religions from dusty books lying on old shelves justify hate and anger.
These women
and men,
these people,
old and young,
tall and short,
thick and thin,
just want to love.
Why is it okay to lie?
To cheat.
And to steal.
Like vicious snakes, but loving who you want sends you straight to hell.
Amen. How could we love another if it's a sin to hold hands with the person that we love?
Amen. Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Amen. Who cares if men kiss men?
Who cares if women kiss women?
Let's just let people
love people.
Mata Morales, age 35, liked to write poems about her girlfriend in her free time. Her coworkers stole her notebook, stole her job, stole her joy.
Luis Marine, age 31, simply took a walk, and a neighbor called the cops on him because he was wearing eye makeup.
Teresa, age 29, she was a teacher. Her students saw her with her lesbian friends. Once rumors spread, she was fired.
Jorge and Gabriel were high school students who were suspended for holding hands in the hallway after several students reported them to the principal for violating the student code of conduct. Carlos Sanchez,
age 15,
was abducted and murdered in 2013.
He never received justice.
Let him love.
These women
and men,
these people,
old and young,
tall and short,
thick and thin,
just want to love.
Up next performing No Because I Am a Woman, we have Kushi, Anisha, and Ananya.
Death by 1,000 daggers, yet still alive. This is the feeling Qatari women go through every day. Another voice.
Silence.
Another dream.
Crushed.
Another life.
Ruined.
Another right.
Violated.
I am Butania, a mother of my 6-year-old. Our life is perfect, except for my husband. He invites his mistresses into our home, the ones he now calls his wife. I silently suffocate in this relationship that yearns to be severed. I've appealed for a divorce 3 times. I want to leave. I need to leave, but I can't. My husband didn't want one, so I stay. Shackled to power. Because I am a woman, and they said no.
And when he says no, we're expected to listen, because he says we need them.
We need a man.
Controlling our movements.
We need a man.
To tell us if we're adult enough.
We need a man.
Although she carries the child, it's never hers. She fixes the family that her husband broke. She is forced to live with her husband's wives. Her life is slipping away like a sandglass timer.
But wait!
It was never hers. That voice was never hers. That child was never hers. That life, it was never hers. It was always a life exchange.
A woman for a man. I couldn't go to school.
Because he said no.
I wasn't allowed to leave.
Because he said no.
I couldn't make decisions about my child.
Because he said no.
My child that I gave birth to. My child that I carried for 9 months.
Because he said no.
They said that we weren't the same as men. That we were worth less than men.
Because that's
the way it is.
That's the way it's always been. A woman for a man.
I'm Asma, a brilliant woman, but a woman nonetheless. I got a scholarship to go to college abroad, but my father said no, so I didn't go. I couldn't go, because I'm a woman, and he said no.
Even death is better than life as a woman here. We're treated like objects. Everything we have can be taken away. We're only used to be enslaved in our homes and be subject to the will of men.
Why?
Because they need a woman to feel powerful.
Why?
Because they don't even look up and see that we are humans too.
Why?
Because in Qatar, women are under the guardianship of a man. They're required to get permission from their guardians for everything. Their fathers, their brothers, their husbands, sometimes even their sons, because they were men. And women needed men. We need a man's permission to travel. We need a man's permission to work, to leave, to marry, to do anything other than listen. Because that's the way it is. That's the way it's always been. A woman for a man.
But why? It was just accepted.
The men have no societal repercussions.
It was just accepted.
The men had to make our decisions for us.
But why? Why do we need?
The abuse, the torture, and the control.
Why do we need?
The constant manipulation. But when we question this treatment, the way they treat us, they say,
that's the way it is. That's the way it's always been.
Quote, these rules are so ingrained in Qatari society that in a 2017 survey, 83% of the respondents in Qatar agreed that the fathers should have the right to prevent their daughters' marriages when they do not approve of their fiancés.
End quote.
Because for generations it has been
a woman for a man. But why?
The scales of life say that people, women and men, are equal.
So why aren't they? Sexism is so deeply embedded into their minds it has become a system of life for them. Then they dare to say, we have more female graduates than males.
Then explain.
Why there are higher male employment rates than women.
Explain.
Why women have to get permission for divorces but men do not.
Explain.
Why women are allowed 3 human rights while men are given 30.
Then what do we need?
We need to be respected. We need our rights and not to live every day in strife, in hurt, in suffering. We need a world where the scales of life are balanced as human, but what we don't understand is why we aren't already. Imagine a world where we can be ourselves, a place of freedom, a hope, a better world. A world that needs to thrive but can't. A world that doesn't exist yet but can.
No, because we are women.
All right, our last poem for until the second intermission is Orange or Green by Ahmad, Rayhan, and Mandar.
December 12th, 2019.
As the sun falls down,
the chaos comes out.
The humid air is stifling.
The pollution proliferating.
The aromas of spices are replaced by the choking smoke.
House by house.
Person by person.
The streets empty.
The traffic gone.
The streetlights flickering.
The candlelight brightening.
We convene to serve the justice, to enforce the rules.
People running up, down, up, down. People getting shot, left, right, right.
Banging, screaming, metal rods ringing, the buildings collapsing, the people wailing.
Our people engulfed in the chaos.
Giving us the closure that we deserve. Beating, torturing, and discriminating is needed. They didn't listen, they didn't follow. Shoot the traitors, we say. 6, 18, 23, 52, 200, 52.
Got killed.
200 got taught a lesson. Satisfaction, blood, broken bones. It's all beautiful. It's because of them. They made it like this. They gave no respect, and we retaliated back. We stayed quiet for all this time. We stepped out of our cocoon of peace. 70 years of one nation. A beautiful painting of culture on the most diverse canvas on the jungles. Coasts, mountains, and seas, forward from the conquest of them, bathed in the blood of the partition. We deserve better, don't we? Forcing us to forgive, manipulating us till we're dead. If they're not the problem, then what is? They're the ones killing innocent people. They're the ones rotting this beautiful apple. They're the ones poisoning this beautiful country. If we got rid of them all, wouldn't it be better?
Lots of problems would be fixed.
Less problems, more peace.
The peace that everyone wants, that everyone needs.
But you are the ones oppressing us.
But we're the ones making this world just. We're the ones making this world right. Sitting on your thrones like kings, looking down on us, thinking that you're safe, thinking that you're untouchable. It doesn't matter if it breaks our laws, or morals, or a way of living. You deserve this.
The dull thud of violence rings out.
Our people are beaten, eaten up by a monster of hate. Hungry, but they just ate. How much more can they take? Hiding our identity, no serenity. They want to force homogeneity. Contemplating our future. Where will we be heading? Can we be safe? Can we live freely? Can't tell if our eyes are watering because of the smoke or because of the sorrow. Cry like there's no tomorrow. Orange. Some say it represents
growth, rebirth, power.
Others say it represents
fear, terror, exasperation.
Family split apart.
Terror, panic, division.
Muslims and Hindus split like a bitter family fallout. Fear terrorizes people into hate, hate like a bull to the color red. Temples are built through the rubble of mosques.
We say rebirth.
We say chaos.
But we say desecration. The taste of beef now singes fear into our tongue, scared of something we used to love. Before we tend to ask ourselves why, but they benefit from the strife.
The two sides are constantly in confusion. Orange or green, orange or green. Will this confusion ever come to an end? I don't know, but all I know is that
fear sells,
hate dwells,
and nothing's well.
Alright, these poems are absolutely great, but I'll be honest, I'm a bit disappointed with y'all. I don't hear any of y'all snapping, so every time there's an impactful moment, y'all gotta snap. Okay, we're gonna try it. Everybody snap on 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's what I want to hear when we have these poets presenting, alright? Oh, we're gonna go into an intermission, so I want all of y'all to get up, go get some food. Items.
The intermission ends at 8.
Alright, thank y'all so much.
Okay, hi guys. This is your last chance for the bake sale, this intermission and next intermission. So you want to get your stuff now because we are selling out of stuff. You really want these baked goods? I promise you they are so good. We are selling out of stuff. So if you haven't bought anything, then you want to right now. Everything is $1 and the popcorn is $5. You will love everything. Please go buy some stuff. Thank you.
Stop eating the
to their seats. We're about to have a special announcement before the next set of poems begin.
Could everybody please take a seat? We're going to get started. Hey, can y'all start quieting down, please? All right, so we now want to welcome our sponsor for this evening, Miss Lenaham from Restore the Child. Miss Lenaham, can you please come up?
Hi, good evening. My name is Elaine Linehan, and along with my husband Mark, and on behalf of our Restore the Child division of our law firm, we are so proud to be the title sponsor for this year's Slamming for a Cause. And when we heard that the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center was going to be the beneficiary for this event, we wanted to participate. They do a multitude of wonderful things on behalf of families and children in our local community, but they also host a premier Crimes Against Children's conference every year that brings together a vast array of industry professionals to focus solely on crimes against children, recognizing it, preventing it, and prosecuting crimes against children. Our Restore the Child division focuses on a very specific crime against children: the production, possession, and sharing of child sexual abuse materials online. So for almost 10 years now, we have represented families and survivors of this kind of crime. So we feel as though our mission is very consistent and in alignment with the Children's Advocacy Center. So we are especially proud to be a participant tonight. And we welcome you to visit our website if you'd like to know more about this type of crime and this area of practice. We are also very happy to support this rookie class, this class of 2025, because it happens to include one of our most favorite rookies. And we are always happy to support this campus, this high school that does such a wonderful job of empowering our younger generation to find their passion, find their voice, elevate their voice for the greater good. So thank you to Ms. Boyd, Ms. Bentz, Mr. Ruiz, Mr. Smith, Ms. Shake, and everybody else at New Tech that makes this such a special campus. Thank you for supporting this event, hosting it, and thank you for inviting us to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. And the judges have tallied their scores, so please welcome Ms. Spence and Ms. Beatty to present the winners of Poetry Out Loud. And Ms. Howard.
Stand up here, because you did so much work. So as Ms. Linehan alluded to, we are a very innovative school, but that's also founded on tradition, and this is one of our legacy projects. And it is very exciting to see that our performers at the top of the event, our Poetry Out Loud performers, were actually part of the Slamming for a Cause. So it's wonderfully magic to see this come full circle. I couldn't be happier or prouder of each of you.
So with that being said, after looking at all of the score sheets, our winner and our senior that is going to state for a chance to win $20,000 for a scholarship is Annika Kelly. Congratulations. So proud of you. You don't have to say anything.
You don't have to say anything. You can say things all over.
All right, it's time to keep going with those poems. First up is going to be Hate is a Virus by Ben, Jacob, and Kristen. And I want to hear y'all snap this time.
the virus, a plague on humanity.
that we have failed to cure. A virus that
contaminates, corrupts, kills, reminding us of the world that will never be equal. I spread like a wildfire uncontained, spreading hate and destruction. I spread throughout the world. I contaminate the people. I contaminate the world. There's no escaping me. There's no one to stop me. I'm the virus that no one sees. I'm hate.
San Francisco, California, going about my day, shopping, moments later, days, lying on the warm, hard concrete.
Beaten, bruised, begging for remorse, gasping for life, praying for help, needing help.
But nothing seems to greet me but a dose of hate, not knowing my own fate, just a world full of bystanders.
Unwilling to take action.
Unwilling to change.
Too caught up in their own world to witness the disease inside.
Hate is a virus. Midland, Texas. I'm shopping with my family, my 3 and 6-year-old boys by my side, minding my own business.
Slash.
Slice.
I'm on the ground crying, red filling my eyes. I hear a scream, I see more red, but this time it's not mine. It's my boys suffering the same fate as I. Puddles of blood that fall like rain from the storm. I taste blood. I hear my children crying out in pain. I hear the sound of a soft, sad whisper.
Dad, help me.
Help me, they say. My heart aches, wanting to hold them, to tell them it's okay, to tell them help is on the way. I fade to black, a victim to the virus.
Breaking news, that's what it should be. Ignored cries for help, another man beaten, another slashed, a symptom of hate.
80% of Asian Americans say that violence against them is increasing since the beginning of the pandemic.
80%? That's 150 million people.
150 million people who don't feel safe in their own country.
People protesting the streets.
Hate is a virus, they say.
Stop Asian hate, I read.
My skin is not a sin, they protest.
They cry for help,
but to no avail.
As I watch my people get pushed aside like worthless trash, as I watch people hide them like a disgrace to their perfect world, my insides turn, my blood boils. How is this okay? But this isn't new. World War II, Pearl Harbor, immigration acts, the whole country scared of Asians. We even put them in camps as if they were savage animals, stripped of their rights, stripped of everything. Asians are being discriminated against because of their ethnicity, because of this virus, the virus of hate with no vaccine to cure it.
The cure? Help. That's what these people need. Help is the Asian man making it to the hospital. Help is knowing that it's safe to go outside without being stabbed. Help is standing up when something wrong happens. Help is making a difference, and help is not happening.
Help is overshadowed by selfishness and hate, by people want to speak instead of acting. Help is not just words passed around like a cigarette. Help is action. Help is not just passing down the torch to the next person waiting for the whole forest to burn down.
Help is the love we spread.
The equality this country stands for.
The freedom we have so desperately fought for, only to be crushed by the disease inside.
By the pandemic of fear.
Help is saying that this is not okay, that we as a people will not stand for this. And help is the acceptance we give to those in need, the help we have refused to give.
We say this country is free and equal, but is it?
We're supposed to stand for our freedom, but do we?
We say something is wrong, but who enforces it?
Who stops this?
So spread the word, people's minds are blurred. Blurred from the fact that the app is backed. Backed by the people, backed by the government, backed by the police. And people say we overreact. How is spreading the unspread an overreaction? You see, these victims
left behind closed doors.
These victims are treated less than. These victims have bled. These victims are filled with dread. Who are these victims?
I'm Noel Kington, 61, slashed on the subway.
I'm Kimberly Hall, 38, verbally harassed.
I'm Christian Hall, 19, death by police.
I'm Ted Neum, 37, verbally harassed and spat on.
I'm Danny Sato, 33, trauma to the head.
I'm Delaney Young, 33, gunned down.
I'm Bowie Kung, age unknown, stabbed along with his 3 and 6-year-old sons.
I'm Dayu Fang, 44, gunned down.
I am Paul Michaels, 54, gunned down.
I'm On Taylor, 94, stabbed multiple times.
I'm Cynthia Lee, Olympic gymnast, 18, attacked by pepper spray.
I'm Douglas Kim, 42, verbally harassed.
Hate is a virus, but together we are the cure.
What a beautiful poem. Up next, we have Amatullah, Ashani, and Ela performing Protected.
The sun has said Wada'an in Bahrain, our home. The moon is getting ready for the night. Burning bike tires under the night sky, not thinking much of what our consequences could be. Maybe a day in jail, maybe a scolding from my parents.
Maybe. Police sirens getting near. Police car, bringing fear. The seatbelt is cold on my shaky arms, while the only warmth is my worried breath. The car stops at the police station. My skin stretches and stings as the light in the room blurs while the officer twists my arm, threatening I confess or be imprisoned. Police, pain, persecution.
Adam's birthday is tomorrow. My boy is turning 12. I make his favorite meal.
5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m.
The aroma of the meal floats out the open window, circling around me, starting to suffocate my thoughts. As my head aches, feeling heavy, the assumptions start banging in my head.
Is he hurt? Is he bleeding? Is he safe? Is he crying?
Stop! Where is Adam?
Panic, fear, anxiety.
Confess you planted a bomb. My head aches with worry and pain as the police yell these words in my ears. Why are the police hurting me?
Why am I being pinned against the wall?
Why am I getting slaps on my head?
Why?
I thought the police protected. At least that's what I expected.
Adam, why is Adam not home?
8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m.
Where is my child? Where is my son? Where is Adam? My heart feeling drained, my lungs claustrophobic, while my soul is still missing. The police can't do this. They're supposed to protect us. The reason why my child's in pain needs to be put to a stop. The police need to be put to a stop.
Screams of the police wound my ears. Say it, say it, say it, you bastard. It's as if the police were strangling my vocal cord, trying to force out a statement that simply wasn't there, treating me like an animal, like something that needs to be tamed. Amusement for the police, pain for me, leaving me
broken,
beaten, bruised,
breathless,
bleeding.
The phone rings. I found my soul, it's imprisoned. The police station is full, but my eyes are empty.
Wayne Ibni, where is my son?
Waiting for an answer is like waiting to get kicked out, which is exactly what happened.
Parents, pleading, pain.
We are taken.
Taken as if we were criminals.
Taken to a secret place.
Taken against our will.
From a police station to a cabin, an outbuilding, strange, secluded, safe?
Of course not. Moments in which my pulse was beating were like a broken clock, not ticking. I will electrocute you until you confess.
The threats are endless.
The threats are endless. The threats are endless. I look around, barely being able to make out my surroundings. Blurry objects surrounding me, car battery, jumper cables of police. My tears veil my eyesight, maybe for the better. As I wipe them, more began to flood out. My heart racing, my hope collapsing, my tears flooding, my eyes burning, my wounds burning, my scabs bruising.
And for what? For the police to hit me again, abuse me again, terrorize me again? My hope is gone, and tears drip down on me as if the next thing dripping down on me will be blood.
Unsafe, unfair, unable.
His 12th birthday was spent in prison. He doesn't deserve this, none of them do. Is he hurt, crying, wailing in pain at the cost of his beautiful voice in which he calls me? Then why? Why are those in the uniform betraying my Adam, betraying my heart?
My eyes narrow, my breath faint, bright electrical sparks shout at me as the police push the wires together.
Police's voices, threats ring in my ears while all I can think of is my family, my parents, my mom.
I thought Bahrain was my home, not my jail. Adam, 12.
Fadi, 13.
Qasim, 13.
Mahmoud, 13.
Ahmad, 13.
Akram, 14.
Saleh, 15.
Syed, 16.
Abdulaziz, 13. Help us.
Help us.
Help us.
Help us. Help.
Next up is going to be Quicksand by Sarayu, Isabella, and Hippolyte.
Terrorists are the thorn in Africa's side. Boko Haram are those storms. You shouldn't have to be afraid to go to school or to go to sleep at night. Change is needed. The safety they once had is gone. Is that incentive enough to help others?
Cameroon and Nigeria is a river of violence with bacteria contaminating it. Boko Haram is that bacteria.
The blood is spilling into the river, making it undrinkable.
Imagine going to school to learn and never coming home. Boko Haram gunmen seized 276 girls in a remote Nigeria. You aren't paying attention
to your surroundings and you fall into quicksand.
Do the walls hear the cries and screams of the girls who did nothing other than be born? 2 of the kidnapped girls were found raped, half dead, and tied to a tree. Boko Haram had left the 2 girls and had killed 4 other girls.
Rape has been a horror of war with Boko Haram, 8 years and spreading beyond borders. At least 7,000 women and girls have endured Boko Haram sexual violence. The quicksand is pulling you in faster and faster because of your struggling. Boko Haram also uses physical and psychological torture. The girls were threatened and beaten.
They make them live outdoors under large trees to pressure them to convert to Islam and marry their captors. Hashtag bring back our girls.
A large movement to bring back the taken schoolgirls was only really half successful, with 100 of those schoolgirls is still in captivity.
Some leap from moving trucks to freedom. Boko Haram also sells women as sex slaves, with victims as young as 8. Thousands of girls and women are held against their will, subject to forced marriages and relentless indoctrination. Those who resist are shot.
A camp in Nigeria was supposed to be a refuge.
I am Falamata, a life taken by war. I was abducted from my home and was raped repeatedly by Boko Haram fighters for the next 3 years. I finally escaped by slipping into the bush and made it to a camp for victims of war. I had just settled in for the night.
When I came to her room and instructed her to come out,
frightened.
He took her to his quarters and raped her. After she had returned, another officer arrived. He raped her too. Is there no safe place for women anymore? Must be the thoughts of these girls' minds. The place that was meant to be protection is really a deception.
Men in these refugee camps meant to protect insist women clean up and bathe in the officers' quarters as men watched.
Once they identify as a girl they want to have sex with, they hardly leave you alone for a single day.
Isn't the government appalled? Boko Haram was bad enough for one lifetime.
The quicksand is
pulling
making
you
you
irrational. You panic and the quicksand pulls you in. Then darkness, the most peace you felt since it all began.
Before our next poem begins, I want to remind y'all that we have a link that you can send to friends and family who aren't able to watch live in person, and it's at tinyurl.com/slamlive. All right, next group performing the cycle is Umar, Michaela, and Andrea.
ولا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياكم إنا كنتم صادقون.
Do not kill your children for fear of poverty. We provide for them and for you. Surely killing them is a heinous sin. Hate plagues their lives like headlines in the news. Why try when action will only make it worse? Children are beaten into submission, starved and tortured. Protect your abuser, not yourself. In this case, should I put myself before others? It's a cycle I cannot break. Who can?
Children are being violently punished. You can hear the screams echo through the walls. Feeling the pain, sadness, and hopelessness brings her to her knees, giving up everything. The cycle is like a flower. It doesn't die out. It's always there. But if you stop watering it, it will die and cease to continue.
The cycle of punishment between parents and children. Hiding behind tables, curtains, beds, and doors. Where would they find their meaning if it is taken away on a daily basis? El Sisi seeks discipline in the workplace. He calls on teachers and doctors to sacrifice for Egypt's sake.
A high school student from Asheville won an award to attend the world premiere, where he would present his research, but the government sought to stop him. Based on his blog that criticized the killing of civilians, he was arrested and charged with creating a terrorist cell, burning police vehicles, and attacking a government building. A public outcry led to his release on bail without no fail, but Asim feared he would be rearrested when he returned home.
He reluctantly sought political asylum in the United States. I am not happy. I wish to live in Aswan among my people. I wanted to serve my country. Just
a year or two older than us.
Can't you see? He's barely older than me, yet you will hurt him without remorse. People get suspicious, but the government does nothing to decrease these suspicions. The government says these attacks against Egypt are compromising their honor. Kareem Hadima Ali, 17 years old, sentenced to death over a protest that yielded no injuries or deaths. The cycle of punishment and despair for kids will not stop unless someone takes a stand. Like a windmill on a windy day, what will stop the turning, the cycling?
These parents are oblivious. Kids have no way of showing their suffering, no signs unless you count the burns or bruises on their backs, the scorch marks, the cuts. Kids learn all the habits their parents give them, the abuse, the violence, and the hate. Soon, when those kids become parents, the next generation will suffer like dogs in a pound.
Did you know that 91% of kids have experienced psychological aggression? I've never seen a number so filled with emotion and hurt. I will not sleep, and neither will you. We must work night and day without rest, the government states. But where is the help?
Why are the children still getting hurt, still crying?
ولا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياكم إنا كنتم صادقين.
Do not kill your children for fear of poverty. We provide for them and for you. Surely killing them is a heinous sin.
Egypt's president needs to be on course and start the change and the love, because right now it's not. The government is being cruel and inhumane. Egypt's president does not consider this a problem. He believes that all of Egypt should be like the army. Peace can last where human rights are respected, where the people are fed, and where individuals and nations are free.
The cycle of punishment between parents and children.
All right, the next group up is the next synthesis by Viraj, Paul, and Nikit.
Your children are your life. Don't you want them to be safe forever, living in the warmth as the sun smiles upon them? Don't all children deserve that? Whether they have two parents, one parent, or even whether they are orphans. Well, in North Korea, these children don't even get to be children. Little boys and girls living without the support of a family, forced to do harsh work and ripped apart like paper.
I feel their struggles. I'm them. But in reality, I'm blessed. But once again, I feel their agony, rolling a boulder, the next Sisyphus, so close to the top of the hill, but failing every time.
Children forced into the inequity, forced to show nationalism, forced to perform harsh, back-breaking labor performed under the glaring sun, performed in the cold, colder than the icy peak of Everest. Children being held hostage doing construction at the age of 16. Children shoveling snow for an eternity at 12. Children lifting logs as heavy as a tank at 9. Children forced to work till the day they die, forced to work till the sun leaves the sky. These children know no other way than to follow this lie. 200,000 children suffering from malnutrition. Imagine your children starving, screaming in the pain of hunger. I ask you, what are they?
A child.
A machine.
A child.
A machine.
A child.
A machine. These innocent children are machines in North Korea.
Innocent children being punished for not finishing work. Volunteers tortured for refusing work. So close to death, forced to take another breath of the breathtaking air, wishing to die, only to be closer to death.
Day after day. We are beaten for a quota nearly impossible to reach. We are screaming, pleading for someone to help. We are treated like the dirt of the ground, which you will stand upon now as the tyrant just sits and watches.
I am Hong So-min, forced to work every day, forced to complete my tasks and take no break, or else I'll be beaten mercilessly, slowly bleeding and crying out in pain. Every day I find new scars. Every day I recognize myself less and less. Every day, every day, every day.
North Korea's children's rights promised by the UN are yanked from their hands, enslaved by the powerful, their lives are an eternal flame. How do we allow this government hide this truth from the world? How do we allow these violations of rights that we all agree everyone have? How do we allow people like Hwang So-min starve while forced to do backbreaking labor?
Human rights violations, unfair practices need to be ended. Traveling at the speed of light in North Korea as innocent people are undefended. It is surprising that North Korea is still not a member of the International Labour Organization, violating human rights, forcing labor are the foundations of North Korea's infrastructure. Freedom only given to the power structure. Human rights in North Korea silenced as the tyranny forces labor upon its youth. We usually work to live. When North Korea people live to work, they have no other choice to live to save themselves from the terrifying, inhuman treatment. Refuse a task assigned by the government, find yourself in the loop of punishments, a loop that can never be escaped. North Korea denies that it violates human rights, not letting anything come to light. People barely survive as we let North Korea treat them unfairly. We are those innocent people. Every day, brutal practices scream at us. Every day, we cry. Every day, we lose a part of ourselves.
We need to stand up for these innocent people. But to make a change, you have to start it. You have to be that change. Simply saying these changes does nothing. We need to stand up for these innocent children, and maybe one day the boulder can go over the hill.
We're now going to take our last intermission of the night, and we're extending the deadline for when the silent auction ends, and it will end after the intermission.
All right, so husbands, this is your last time to get your wife a gift. You know what they say, a happy wife is a happy life. Hello? Third time's the charm. There we go. So we're going to get started with our last set of poets. Before we do, I just wanted to say that if you want to pay for... Hey, can everybody settle down, please? The silent auction is now closed, so if you want to pay for your items, we accept cash or check. Checks need to be written out to Kapal ISD. So once the last set of poets go, y'all can line up to pay for your items. And yeah, we're going to get started with the last set of poets.
All right, next we have 3 and 1 presented by Annie, Emmanuel, and Elena.
One in 3 girls in Nigeria are married before the age of 18. I'm the 1 in 3. We are generations
broken and bruised. I was a girl, now a mother, watching the cycle continue.
As we debate in the Senate, the government divided, unable to protect our children.
But my life is not my own anymore because it's my father's, it's my suitor's, it's my country's. It leaves me lost without a compass to guide me, leaves me wondering what'll happen to me. I cried when he asked to marry me.
As I cry now for you, a man old enough to be my father, asking my husband for our daughter. I'm locked behind the bars of marriage's cage, unable to do anything but watch. As the last chain of my rusted anchor snaps, my child is torn away from me. I am lost, adrift once more, while the government ignores our children, my child.
We are not ignoring the children. We made laws for their protection.
21 is the legal age to marry, and yet they tell me that I should be a wife, a mother, a servant. Do they think we're blind that we can't see the petals falling away? Playing gone, friends gone, school gone, until the flower of our childhood is nothing more than a memory lost to the wind.
If only all of Nigeria agreed. 11 states still argue that illegally married girls are of age, preventing change from taking its rightful course.
The senators that were supposed to represent us, protect us.
To protect me.
Perpetuate the problem with their broken promises, cloaked in their religion. They strike down amendments to justify their own transgressions. Their moral compasses no longer point north.
No one cares about us. If you cared, you would have done something. Something to stop my family's starvation. Something to stop me from being sold.
This is a problem we have the power to solve. But the poison of poverty plagues our people. 40% of our people live in that poison, with millions of children severely malnourished. Corruption is infiltrating the government, and sick and twisted terrorist groups run rampant.
And if you cared, you would have told others to help, not hide behind your excuses, not watch us lose our freedom.
We can't have freedom with the country divided. It takes unity to truly be free and repair our wayward compass.
And I'm that one, the one whose life is not their own, the one whose freedom was stolen, the one whose childhood is lost, the 1 in 3 girls in Nigeria married before the age of 18.
Next up is Two Distinct Dreams by Lindley, Nirav, and Sarah.
Traditions are children. Children are innocent, simple, uneducated. Children change.
They have time to learn, and learning is rewarded.
But traditions aren't rewarded for change.
They are ridiculed and fought over.
And tradition can stop children from changing.
She was sold for cows, lied to, she was lied to, never expecting this nightmare.
The sun rises in Nigeria, my home, but not where I dreamed to be. Today, Nigeria becomes my only choice. Today, Nigeria becomes the only place I can be.
Her father willingly gave her away into the hands of a man, only looking to harm her. This was their last chance.
The village
watched as her family willingly gave her away. They watched
as I was
silence. They watched
as my life was stolen from me.
The village watched with joy.
Because of tradition.
The sun sets and my life is forever changed.
I am still a little girl in a loving family, safe across the sea and the land of the free.
I dream of a beautiful white dress and a loving husband, but those are just dreams. The wedding bells are a distant chime I have barely begun to hear. I daydream about this day, but it's just a dream. It is nowhere near a reality. The sun rises, and I wake up excited for the choice of the day. The wedding bells are still there, but it takes a reminder to notice them. I am not reminded of them today. The sun sets, and I am happy, thinking about the choice of tomorrow.
I am seen as an object, degraded, devastated, damaged, and destroyed, taught not to expect the respect I deserve. My childhood,
Lost, gone forever, silence.
Because of necessity, I am barred from changing.
Living.
And learning. Forced onto the responsibilities of marriage before her voice has developed, before she has the voice to change the way things are.
A voice that I, the little girl across the sea, have had ingrained into me since the moment I was born. I know that I have a choice.
Choice. Choice is a foreign concept for me. That distant dream she hears is silent in my mind, mimicking me, mimicking mine.
Silence.
Why? Why are girls forced to give birth, forced to do work, forced to run a household? They see the same sun. Why are girls not given the same choice?
My purpose, merely a body used to carry out
Tradition. And this is acceptable.
Because of
Culture. Because of custom.
because of
Tradition.
Because of necessity.
Guardians.
Giving
girls.
Away in exchange for
promises. Promises that can't be fulfilled. Promises that their mental capacities can't withhold. How can promises have value when the sacrifice don't understand what they're being sacrificed for?
What are they being punished for?
For one last chance?
For money?
For tradition?
Why are these young minds being taken away to better a man they have never met?
Their childhoods are spent as a sacrifice.
Where's the growth? Where's the support? Where are the opportunities?
The opportunities, learning, and supporting that girls across the sea are given every day of their lives.
Children learn, children grow, their minds develop.
But it takes time. It takes work. Traditions are children.
And children need support to change.
Change needs support.
Change is a child.
It needs to learn to grow, but
change
gets
gets
a choice. Growth is worthless without the value and learning along the way.
Without change, without a choice, without a chance, without support,
we will only get a glimpse
of what our dreams could become.
Performing unrecognized reflections, we have Jessica, Anna, and Jordan.
I am Mung Sray Mum, stalls packed with people swarming the marketplace, resembling a maze of prison cells.
No place like Cambodia. Feet aching, back sobbing, back sore, working.
So focused, and suddenly, pain, complete and utter agony, forced me to crumple down to my knees. Acid burned through my skin, covering my back, my arms, my legs, and my face. Ringing! Everything is black. Dim hospital lights flickered. Wires and tubes kept me alive. Were they to help me breathe or to muffle my screams? Pain. Give me something, please, inject me dead. I pleaded with the doctors, but my husband begged me to live. Every day, the scars on my armpits open and bleed. Pain. To think all of this because a woman was jealous of the success of my shop. Pain. Now I know what hell feels like.
I'm Tat Marina, motionless on my back, head bandaged, eyes staring blankly at the Cambodian hospital ceiling.
Pain.
No medication, just torture. Unexperienced doctors pry at what's left in me.
30 pounds lost.
Flashbacks flood my brain. Let me leave, please.
Smack. You're my girl now. You can't run away from me or do anything. You're mine.
I was only 16.
The hitting.
The aggression.
The touching.
The screams.
His body.
Pain.
He has a wife. She knows what he did, but I pay the price? Yanked to the ground, air knocked into my chest, kicked and kneed over and over
and over again. Pain.
The sensation of the liquid dousing me. My
My brain shut down. Thinking of the man that said he loved me, watching me suffer. Every time I think about that day, the only word that ever comes to mind is pain.
I am Sakura. I felt like I was in hell. No, I was in Cambodia, a place where I called home. My hands flying on the kitchen preparing food. A normal day until
Splash! Pain! It was instant. Was I dying?
It felt like water, but water doesn't burn. I felt my flesh melt off my body.
Pain.
It took over me. It overwhelmed me. The rough hospital bandages rubbed my skin raw, or at least what was left of it.
Pain.
I would never be able to see the world again, but people love me.
I am not beautiful anymore.
My dream of being an aspirant will be a dream that will never become reality. Pain. My fiance's ex-girlfriend walks around freely while I endlessly suffer. Everything I had is
gone.
My money, gone. My positions,
gone.
My dignity,
gone. We deserve justice. We are ruined. Unrecognized reflections stare back at us. Thousands for reconstruction surgery? We don't have those type of funds. When they took blood, they took money. Isn't there a law for free medical care? Why doesn't that law have no benefit?
The government is the covered law lacks responsibility, forcing us to pay for things we can't control. Healthcare is the last breath a person takes before they give up. We fear to go out, silently suffering.
We cry to reduce the hurt in our hearts, in our minds. We have been stigmatized for life. We are disfigured, dehumanized, and depressed, while our perpetrators roam free. When will we get compensation? Suffering
has never left our side. I hope someone will see our suffering and help us to get justice.
The story of hiding in the shadows with no escape. The story of a mother and her child burned alive. The story of an abused 16-year-old girl melted. The story of a girl just violently attacked. Who will speak up for us?
We are the people who need a
change. Change
screams as it runs away from us in terror. We are more than what the people see. Change is like people longing for aid.
But change is non-existent if people don't care.
Next up is Where is Home by Blake, Felix, and Daniela.
Fleeing their homes.
Dangers in Mexico rise with political problems. An ongoing battle that's impossible to escape.
Families are small plants reaching for sunlight with a roof of trees covering their paths.
It feels as if the only way to have a better life is to immigrate to the U.S. An incredibly long process most families end up giving up on. But what about the families that keep going? How do they feel?
What is their story? Soy madre de dos niños.
She is a mother of two children.
Freezing in these cages.
Soy ciudadana de Guatemala.
She is a citizen of Guatemala.
Fleeing from my homeland. Yo he estado tratando de emigrar a los U.S. He has been trying to immigrate to the U.S. helplessly for years. Soy una victimada de la Remain in Mexico program. I have lived in Guatemala my whole life. All of this time, I have faced gang violence and poverty.
I do not care about my safety anymore. All I want is a happy life for my children, but they cannot have it here.
I packed up everything I owned and traveled to Mexico to apply for U.S. citizenship. I've been waiting here for months in this church, packed with people, with my two children, waiting. Esperando. They told me to be in El Paso in December. I have no means to get there. It is over 100 miles away.
As I walk, the sun stings my head and the horizon mocks me. I somehow managed to make it to the border in time.
I told them I have a court summons. They read my papers, stole my money, beat my children. They put me in a freezing cell to wait. They put my children in a freezing cell to wait, but not with me. They separated me from my 5-year-old son.
During my hearing, they did not ask if I was afraid to go back.
To the land that has never been my home. To the land that has traumatized my children. Back to Mexico.
But I'm afraid.
Desperate. Hopeless. Should I just go back to my country? We undergo terrible conditions as we stay in these cages, waiting for a chance.
Locked up in these overcrowded freezers, children being attacked violently, families being adopted for ransom. Not a nice place, not where you want to be.
In a cage, this is where they stay, as they hope and they wait and they hate for their court hearing across the border to see if they and their children will make it. We are treated like animals.
Home has never felt more distant.
Home
has never felt more far away. These people are seeking a new life, a new home in the U.S., but they're being kept away from us for our safety.
Children are crying, missing their parents. Home is even farther. Home is where you and your family live together. Without family, we can never get home. Locked in cages, separated from family. Home is so far away. Attacked, raped, abducted, freezing, frustrated, done.
Forced to hope they'll make it while their children go through it all.
A battle is being fought. We don't know who will win, but the children are the battlegrounds. Whatever the outcome, they will suffer.
All this suffering just for wanting a better life.
Right here?
Right now,
this is
hell.
You might be thinking, oh, this isn't that bad, but you don't see what the courtroom perceives, the horrors it holds.
You might be thinking, this isn't a real problem, but you can't begin to understand the hardships and struggles of another human being until you make an effort to understand.
You might be thinking, well, this is a nice poem, but it has nothing to do with me.
Not true. It's thoughts like that that have these families where they are.
Thinking this problem isn't relevant is the problem.
These kinds of thoughts are forcing familias, madres, padres, children, sisters, brothers
into those cages just
across
the border.
The U.S. is a
democracia. What the government does reflects what we, the people, want.
The U.S.
Migrant Protection Protocols,
also known as the Remain in Mexico program,
was put into place on January 25th, 2019.
Since these atrocities have been taking place, when we were small children, we were taught to
love everyone.
And God made everyone equal.
But we
grow up a little and realize this isn't the reality that surrounds us.
And for half a second we wonder,
why? But we don't even get to finish that question before answers.
Excuses
are shoved down our throats.
It's unrealistic.
They could be a danger.
We don't know who they are.
And I think what's happening is bad, but there's nothing I can do.
Then we grow up and realize we are so used to these
explanations and reasonings.
These excuses.
We accept them as our own.
Did we forget to love everyone?
Did we forget everyone is made equally?
Did we trick ourselves into thinking
their lives are not worth my trouble?
These people,
these humans,
our brothers and sisters,
are being put into cages with no hope of escape.
While we sit here,
playing with the key without the will to figure out how it works.
Can we take a second?
Close our eyes.
Take a breath.
And remember, where we thought we lived in a world where
everyone is loved
and everyone is treated equally.
Is this reality too far away to where we cannot reach it?
Or is it closer than we think?
And all we need is
a little time, a little effort, and a lot of love.
For our last poem of the night, we have Amy, Sonia, and Aditya performing Ground Level.
Floor 11. I can hear the bullets whistling, though my hands cover my ears. I can see the silhouette of the mountains, though my eyes are filled with tears. The skies flush with the metallic scent of blood as a bearded man in a turban whips my mother. I hear her screams and cries of pain, blood oozing from the gashes in her skin, simply because she stepped out of her place as a woman, simply because she fought back.
Going down. Floor 10, the Taliban keep women locked in their homes. Go back to the kitchen where you belong, they'll say. Stay in your house. Care for your children, because it's all that women are capable of. Caring for the family, cooking, cleaning till their hands ache. Women are kept under lock and key. They must stay under covers. They're not allowed to express their personalities or make choices. Their rights are suppressed. Going down.
Floor 9. Women must dress right, cover themselves in shawls and their garments from head to toe. They cannot work or go to school. The kitchen is their place, their future. They're kept, hidden in their homes, locked in their own personal hell. They cower in fear as they witness the cruel beatings, whips slashing, and stones flying, going down. Floor 8. From the Taliban's eyes, women are toys, played with like puppets, used as slaves, there to cater to them. From the Taliban's eyes, women should feel honored to have graced their eyesight. Women having the audacity to say they have rights is wrong in their minds, going down.
Floor 7, men in pacos dressed to destroy. They crush the spirits of women, beating and harassing them till they break. Women and girls are kept from schools and jobs for financial reasons. They claim we can return one day, but we all know better.
Going down.
Floor 6. Teachers teaching top secret while living in silence, teaching women and girls what is forbidden to them, giving them a future.
I used to go to work every day. I was able to walk freely and earn my own wages. Now I hide my face, hide behind a tall, broad-shouldered body, live in silence, speak under an alias. Their voices are their hidden identities, going down.
Floor 5, our families, children, husbands. We are not here to please men. Do not belittle us. We are not your puppets. Do not attempt to control us by the strings. We are not your playthings.
Going down.
Floor 4, I am Maidakal, a 22-year-old woman. My prison cell suffocates me as I remain with the scars from my brothers, who beat me when I was a small 12-year-old girl, struggling to
carry my 70-year-old husband, imprisoning me for not being strong enough.
Going down floor 3, I am Anira, a 25-year-old woman, the flames still alive in my memory from the blast of a grenade, as I witnessed my mother die after being beaten by the Taliban, unable to flee.
Going down.
Floor 2. The Taliban were responsible for 45% of attacks in Afghanistan. Women and children comprise 44% of these civilian attacks.
44%.
That's 1,659 civilians killed, 3,254 wounded, over 4,913 families total affected by the Taliban. Going down.
Floor 1, courage is hidden as women and girls cower in their homes, hiding in the shadows, fearing brutal punishment or worse.
Women's rights are on a horrific elevator ride, unable to escape.
Facing only downs, they're shouting and fighting, but no one can hear them. Change is necessary, but fear keeps women from fighting for it. Going down.
Ground level protesters fill the streets holding brightly painted signs, changing until their voices go hoarse. Hashtags fill social media pages. Hashtag do not touch my clothes.
Hashtag Afghanistan culture.
Hashtag Afghan woman. Hashtag free Afghanistan.
Let's give a big round of applause to all the learners and their poems tonight.
Woo!
Now we're going to have Miss Lenahan come back up one more time.
Just a big thank you on behalf of the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center. I think this is the most we've ever raised in this event. We're at 15,000 and counting. And just, yeah, that is a great effort, great community effort, great school effort. Thank you so much. Just trust that the money will go towards helping advocate for and protect children and families in our local community. So thank you. Thank you very much on behalf of the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center.
Before we end it off tonight, we did want to give a few shout-outs to the people who made this event possible. Joaquin Zuanatejo at Poet Jay-Z, Newtek High Capel PTSO, Newtek High Capel Principal Joseph Smith, Assistant Principal Rahila Sheikh, CISD Board of Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Brad Hunt, CTE Instructional Coach Jason Pierce, Capel ISD, Capel Education Foundation, and facilitators Janelle Bunce, Danae Boyd, Zachary Rees, Caleb Broadstreet, and Samantha Beatty, Youth for Human Rights, SMU Embry School of Human Rights, Dallas Holocaust, and Human Rights Museum. We did also want to give a thank you to all the parents of the class of 2025 and the facilitators of Newtek High Capel. A special thank you to these parent volunteers, Mr. and Mrs. Lenahan, Mrs. Bunting, Mrs. Desai, and Mrs. Sine. And then another special shout out, a lot of thank yous today, to the Fuse crew for filming this and getting this up for us.
Thank you everyone so much for coming out. The winning bidders will pick up their items here in the gym at one of these tables depending on the auction item. And after you collected your winning items, there is a backdrop in the media center if you want to go take a photo with your learner.
Thank y'all for coming out.